All right, we are coming up on 8 o'clock, so let's go ahead and get settled, and we can get started with a new book tonight. Welcome back, everyone. This is our first night of reading from Morte d'Arthur. This is one of the more definitive sources of Arthurian lore. This is by Sir Thomas Malory, written in the 15th century, I think it was. 15th century or 1500s, I never remember. But yeah, this is sort of where you go to really get the backstory and the history and the myth and the lore. So we've gone from Lovecraftian horror mythos to the sort of founding myths of a lot of what has become modern Western mythology. And that is King Arthur and his roots and how things went about and played out. So, I thought it might be fun. We'll take a twist from the phantasmological into the fantastic. Well, this one is a little bit more serious than some things we've read, but also it's lighthearted. It's still like a book of legends. So, let's get into it, shall we? Should be fun. So, this is the Volume 1 of Morte d'Arthur, Book 1, Chapter 1. First, how Uther Pendragon sent for the Duke of Cornwall and Igraine his wife, and of their departing suddenly again. It befell in the days of Uther Pendragon, when he was king of all England, and so reigned, that there was a mighty duke in Cornwall, that held war against him a long time. And the duke was called the Duke of Tintagel. And so by means King Uther sent for this duke, charging him to bring his wife with him, for she was called a fair lady, and a passing wise, and her name was called Igraine. So when the duke and his wife were come unto the king, by the means of great lords they were accorded both. The king liked and loved this lady well. He made them great cheer out of measure, and desired to have lain by her. But she was a passing good woman, would not assent unto the king. And then she told the duke her husband, and said, I suppose that we were sent for that I should be dishonored. Wherefore, husband, I counsel you that we depart from hence suddenly, that we may ride all night unto our own castle. And in likewise, as she said so, they departed, that neither the king nor none of his council were aware of their departing. All so soon as King Uther knew of their departing so suddenly, he was wonderly wroth. Then he sent to him his privy council, and told them of the sudden departing of the duke and his wife. Then they advised the king to send for the duke and his wife by a great charge, and if he will not come at your summons, then may ye do your best, then have ye cause to make mighty war upon him. So that was done, and the messengers had their answers, and that was this shortly, that neither he nor his wife would not come at him. Then was the king wonderly wroth, and then the king sent him plain word again, and bade him be ready, and stuff him and garnish him, for within 40 days he would fetch him out of the biggest castle that he hath. When the duke had this warning, anon he went and furnished and garnished 2 strong castles of his, of the which the one hight Tintagel, and the other castle hight Terrible. So his wife Dame Igraine he put in the castle of Tintagel, and himself he put in the castle of Terrible, the which had many issues and posterns out. Then in all haste came Uther with a great host, and laid a siege about the castle of Terrible. And there he pight many pavilions. There was great war made on both parties, and much people slain. Then, for pure anger and for great love of fair Igraine, the King Uther fell sick. So came to the King Uther Sir Ulfius, a noble knight, and asked the king why he was sick. I shall tell thee, said the king. I am sick for anger and for love of fair Igraine, that I may not be whole. Well, My lord, said Ulfius, I shall seek Merlin, and he shall do you remedy, that your heart shall be pleased. So Ulfius departed, and by adventure he met Merlin in beggar's array. And there Merlin asked Ulfius whom he sought. And he said he had little ado to tell him. Well, said Merlin, I know whom thou seekest, for thou seekest Merlin. Therefore seek no farther, for I am he. And if King Uther will well reward me, and be sworn unto me to fulfill my desire, that shall be his honor, and profit more than mine. For I shall cause him to have all his desire. All this will I undertake, said Ulfius, that there shall be nothing reasonable, but that thou shalt have thy desire. Well, said Merlin, he shall have his intent and desire. Therefore, said Merlin, ride on your way, for I will not be long behind. Brings us to the end of chapter 1. So already finding that the style of this, I'm not sure that I've ever actually read this in the first person. The style of this, and particularly the way the dialogue is done, there are no quotes. It is not broken up as such. It is entirely from like an almost biblical perspective of the narrator saying who says what, how they say it. So I may not be able to do very good voices on this one because it's not always very clear when and who is speaking. But it can be alright. We can just play it out as a narration, right? Alright, let's continue on now. These are pretty short chapters, so we'll be able to power through quite a bit tonight and before break, and just, it seems like this will be a good one to stop when and where we will. And so, chapter 2. How Uther Pendragon made war on the Duke of Cornwall, and how, by the mean of Merlin, he lay by the Duchess and gat Arthur. Then Ulfius was glad, and rode on more than a pace till that he came to Uther Pendragon, and told him he had met with Merlin. Where is he? Said the king. Sir, said Ulfius, he will not dwell long. Therewithal Ulfius was where Merlin stood at the porch of the pavilion's door, and then Merlin was bound to come to the king. When King Uther saw him, he said he was welcome. Sir, said Merlin, I know all your heart every deal, so ye will be sworn unto me, as ye be a true king anointed, to fulfill my desire. Ye shall have your desire. Then the king was sworn upon the 4 evangelists. Sir, said Merlin, this is my desire. The first night that ye shall lie by a grain, ye shall get a child on her. And when that is born, that it shall be delivered to me, for to nourish there as I will have it. For it shall be your worship, and the child's avail, as mickle as the child is worth. I will well, said the king, as thou wilt have it. Now, make you ready, said Merlin. Yeah, this is really hard to keep track of who's saying what. Now, make you ready, said Merlin. This night ye shall lie with Igraine in the castle of Tintagel, and ye shall be like the duke her husband. Ulfius shall be like Sir Brastias, a knight of the duke's, and I will be like a knight that hight Sir Jordanus, a knight of the duke's. But wait ye make not many questions with her, nor her men. But say ye are diseased, and so hie you to bed, and rise not on the morn till I come to you. For the castle of Tintagel is but 10 miles hence. So this was done as they had devised. But the Duke of Tintagel espied how the king rode from the siege of Terrabil. Therefore that night he issued out of the castle at a postern, for to have distressed the king's host. And so, through his own issue, the Duke himself was slain, or ever the king came at the castle of Tintagel. So after the death of the Duke, King Uther lay with Igraine more than 3 hours after his death, and begat on her that night Arthur. And on day came Merlin to the king, and bade him make him ready. So he kissed the lady Igraine, and departed in all haste. But when the lady heard tell of the Duke, her husband, and by all record he was dead or ever King Uther came to her, then she marvelled who that might be that lay with her in likeness of her lord. So she mourned privily, and held her peace. Then all the barons by one assent prayed the king of accord betwixt the lady Igraine and him. The king gave them leave, for fain would he have been accorded with her. So the king put all the trust in Ulfius to entreat between them, and so, by the entreaty, at the last, the king and she met together. Now will we do well, said Ulfius. Our king is a lusty knight and wifeless, and my lady Igraine is a passing fair lady. It were great joy unto us all, and it might please the king to make her his queen. Unto that they all well accorded, and moved it to the king, and anon, like a lusty knight, he assented thereto with good will. And so in all haste they were married in a morning with great mirth and joy. And King Lot of Lothian and of Orkney then wedded Margos, that was Gawaine's mother, and King Nentres of the land of Garland wedded Elaine. All this was done at the request of King Uther, and the third sister, Morgan le Fay, was put to school in a nunnery. And there she learned so much that she was a great clerk of necromancy. And after she was wedded to King Uriens of the land of Gore. That was Sir Iwain le Blanchman's father. And that's the end of chapter 2. Okay, yeah, this definitely reads like some Old Testament stuff as we're going through it. And I'm sure it'll change as we're getting into a little bit more contemporary to Arthur, and this is all just the very, very early before times sort of thing. But it's interesting to see how it comes out. Uther doesn't himself kill his wife's husband, but his men do, without him even knowing. And, no, I just might as well just tie the knot for it, right? It's fine. Alright, let's continue on now with chapter 3 of the birth of King Arthur and of his nurture. Then Queen Igraine waxed daily greater and greater. So it befell, after within half a year, as King Uther lay by his queen, he asked her, by the faith she owed to him, whose was the body? Then she sore abashed to give answer. Dismay you not, said the king, but tell me the truth, and I shall love you the better. By the faith of my body, sir, said she, I shall tell you the truth. The same night that my lord was dead, the hour of his death, as his knights record, there came into my castle of Tintagel a man like my lord in speech and in countenance. 2 knights with him in likeness of his 2 knights, Brastius and Jordanus. And so I went unto bed with him, as I ought to do with my lord. And the same night, as I shall answer unto God, this child was begotten upon me. That is truth, said the king, as ye say, for it was I myself that came in the likeness, and therefore dismay you not, for I am the father of the child. And there he told her all the cause, how it was by Merlin's counsel. Then the queen made great joy when she knew who was the father of her child. Soon came Merlin unto the king, and said, Sir, ye must purvey you for the nourishing of your child. As thou wilt, said the king, be it. Well, said Merlin, I know a lord of yours in this land, that is a passing true man, and a faithful, and he shall have the nourishing of your child. And his name is Sir Ector. And he is a lord of fair livelihood in many parts in England and Wales. And this lord, Sir Ector, let him be sent for to come and speak with you, and desire him yourself. As he loveth you, that he will put his own child to nourishing to another woman, and that his wife nourish yours. And when the child is born, let it be delivered to me at yonder privy postern unchristened. So like as Merlin devised it was done. And when Sir Ector was come, he made viands to the king, for to nourish the child like as the king desired. And there the king granted Sir Ector great rewards. Then, when the lady was delivered, the king commanded 2 knights and 2 ladies to take the child, bound in a cloth of gold, and that ye deliver him to what poor man ye meet at the postern gate of the castle. So the child was delivered unto Merlin, and so he bare it forth unto Sir Ector, and made an holy man to christen him, and named him Arthur. And so Ector's wife nourished him with her own pap. It's the end of chapter 3. We can just carry right on, because these are very short. So chapter 4, of the death of King Uther Pendragon. Then, within 2 years, King Uther fell sick of a great malady. And in the meanwhile, his enemies usurped upon him, and did a great battle upon his men, and slew many of his people. Sir, said Merlin, ye may not lie so as ye do, for ye must to the field though ye ride on a horse litter. For ye shall never have the better of your enemies, but if your person be there. And then shall ye have the victory. So it was done, as Merlin had devised, and they carried the king forth in a horse litter, with a great host toward his enemies. And as St. Albans there met with the king, a great host of the north. And that day Sir Ulfius and Sir Brastias did great deeds of arms. And King Uther's men overcame the northern battle, and slew many people, put the remnant to flight. And then the king returned unto London, and made great joy of his victory. And then he fell passing sore sick, so that 3 days and 3 nights he was speechless. Wherefore all the barons made great sorrow, and asked Merlin what counsel were best. There is none other remedy, said Merlin, but God will have his will. But look ye, all barons, be before King Uther to morn, and God and I shall make him to speak. So on the morn all the barons with Merlin came tofore the king. Then Merlin said aloud unto King Arthur, Sir, shall your son Arthur be king after your days of this realm with all appurtenance? Then Uther Pendragon turned him, and said in hearing of them all, I give him God's blessing and mine, and bid him pray from my soul, and righteously and worshipfully that he claim the crown, upon forfeiture of my blessing, and therewith he yielded up the ghost. And then he was interred, as longed to a king. Wherefore the queen, fair Igraine, made great sorrow, and all the barons. That's the end of chapter 4. So we've seen the early parts have already come and gone, and now we're the predecessors already laid to rest, and now we see how Arthur comes to be. Well, we'll see how far he goes. How much of a time skip do we have to deal with here? So, chapter 5, how Arthur was chosen king, and of wonders and marvels of a sword taken out of a stone by the said Arthur. Oh, wow. All right. Then stood the realm in great jeopardy long while, for every lord that was mighty of men made him strong, and many weened to have been king. Then Merlin went to the Archbishop of Canterbury, and counselled him to send for all the lords of the realm, and all the gentlemen of arms, that they should to London come by Christmas, upon pain of cursing, and for this cause, that Jesus, that was born on that night, that he would of his great mercy show some miracle, as he was come to be king of mankind, for to show some miracle, who should be rightwise king of this realm. So the archbishop, by the advice of Merlin, sent for all the lords and gentlemen of arms, that they should come by Christmas, even unto London, and many of them made them clean of their life, that their prayer might be the more acceptable unto God. So in the greatest church of London, whether it were Paul's or not, the French book maketh no mention. All the estates were long or day in the church for to pray. And when matins and the first mass was done, there was seen in the churchyard, against the high altar, a great stone, 4 square, like unto a marble stone, and in midst thereof was like an anvil of steel, a foot on high, and therein stuck a fair sword, naked by the point, and letters there were written in gold, about the sword that said thus: Whoso pulleth out this sword of this stone and anvil is rightwise king, born of all England. Then the people marveled, and told it to the archbishop. I command, said the archbishop, that ye keep you within your church, and pray unto God still, that no man touch the sword till the high mass be all done. So when all masses were done, all the lords went to behold the stone and the sword. And when they saw the scripture, some assayed, such as would have been king, but none might stir the sword, nor move it. He is not here, said the archbishop, that shall achieve the sword. But doubt not, God will make him known. But this is my counsel, said the archbishop, that we let purvey 10 knights, men of good fame, and they to keep this sword. So it was ordained, and then there was made a cry, that every man should assay that would, for to win the sword. And upon New Year's Day, the barons let make a jousts and a tournament, that all knights that would joust or tourney there might play, and all this was ordained for to keep the lords together and the commons. For the archbishop trusted that God would make him known that should win the sword. So upon New Year's Day, when the service was done, the barons rode unto the field, some to joust and some to tourney. And so it happened that Sir Ector, that had great livelihood about London, rode unto the jousts. And with him rode Sir Kay, his son, and young Arthur, that was his nourished brother. And Sir Kay was made knight at All Hallowmass afore. So as they rode to the joust sword, Sir Kay lost his sword, for he had left it at his father's lodging, and so he prayed young Arthur for to ride for his sword. I will well, said Arthur, and rode fast after the sword. And when he came home, the lady and all were out to see the jousting. Then was Arthur wroth, and said to himself, I will ride to the churchyard, and take the sword with me that sticketh in the stone, for my brother Sir Kay shall not be without a sword this day. So when he came to the churchyard, Sir Arthur alighted, and tied his horse to the stile, and so he went to the tent, and found no knights there, for they were at the jousting, and so he handled the sword by the handles, and lightly and fiercely pulled it out of the stone, and took his horse, and rode his way until he came to his brother, Sir Kay, and delivered him the sword. And as soon as Sir Kay saw the sword, he wist well it was the sword of the stone. And so he rode to his father Sir Ector, and said, Sir, lo, here is the sword of the stone. Wherefore I must be king of this land. When Sir Ector beheld the sword, he returned again, and came to the church. And there they alighted all three, and went into the church. And anon he made Sir Kay swear upon a book how he came to that sword. Sir, said Sir Kay, by my brother Arthur, for he brought it to me. How gat ye this sword? Said Sir Ector to Arthur. Sir, I will tell you. When I came home for my brother's sword, I found nobody at home to deliver me his sword. And so I thought my brother Sir Kay should not be swordless. And so I came hither eagerly, and pulled it out of the stone without any pain. Found ye any knights about this sword? Said Sir Ector. Nay, said Arthur. Now, said Sir Ector to Arthur, I understand. Ye must be king of this land. Wherefore I, said Arthur, and for what cause? Sir, said Sir Ector, for God will have it so, for there should never have drawn out of this sword. But he that shall be rightwise king of this land. Now, let me see whether ye can put the sword there as it was, and pull it out again. That is no mastery, said Arthur, and so he put it in the stone. Wherewithal Sir Ector essayed to pull out the sword, and failed. And that brings us to chapter 6, the end of chapter 5. So we see the sword and the stone introduced and solved in the span of 2 pages. So it's made quite a great deal out of in a lot of stories. And I mean, there's the Disney movie, obviously, and generally it's made to be more of a thing than this. But, And Sir Kay almost got away with it. Yeah, we've gotten to the end of the Disney movie already. It's been 25 minutes since we began. Oh boy, we are blazing. Sir Kay almost pulled a fast one. He's like, oh, I have the sword, I must be king. Hoot-to-doo. His dad made him swear on the Bible that how he actually got it. Oh, oops, okay. So we see already that everyone is not so pure. Uther started a war for a wife that was already someone else's wife. Arthur's milk brother was maybe not entirely forthcoming. So I'm sure that's not going to be a trend. There's not going to be any flaws in the characters here. No one ever does anything completely wrong, right? Right? These are knights and they're chivalrous. There's nothing that could go amiss. Let's find out, though. So we'll continue now with Chapter 6. How King Arthur pulled out the sword diverse times. Now essay, said Sir Ector unto Sir Kay, and anon he pulled at the sword with all his might. It would not be. Now shall ye essay, said Sir Ector to Arthur. I will well, said Arthur, and pulled it out easily. And therewithal Sir Ector knelt down to the earth, and Sir Kay. Alas, said Arthur, my own dear father and brother, why kneel ye to me? Nay, nay, my lord Arthur, it is not so. I was never your father, nor of your blood, but I wot well ye are of an higher blood than I weened ye were. And then Sir Ector told him all, how he was betaken him for to nourish him, and by whose commandment, and by Merlin's deliverance. Then Arthur made great dole when he understood that Sir Ector was not his father. Sir, said Ector unto Arthur, will ye be my good and gracious lord when ye are king? Else were I to blame, said Arthur, for ye are the man in the world that I am most beholden to, and my good lady and mother your wife, that as well as her own, hath fostered me and kept. And if ever it be God's will that I be king, as ye say, ye shall desire of me what I may do, and I shall not fail you. God forbid I should fail you, sir, said Sir Ector. I will ask no more of you, but that ye will make my son, your foster brother, Sir Kay, seneschal of all your lands. That shall be done, said Arthur, and more. By the faith of my body, that never man shall have that office but he, while he and I live. Therewithal they went unto the archbishop, and told him how the sword was achieved, and by whom, and on the 12th day all the barons came thither, and to assay to take the sword, who that would assay, but there afore them all, there might none take it out but Arthur. Wherefore there were many lords wroth, and said it was great shame unto them all, and the realm to be overgoverned with a boy, of no high blood born. And so they fell out at that time that it was put off till Candlemas. And then all the barons should meet there again. But always the 10 knights were ordained to watch the sword day and night. And so they set a pavilion over the stone and the sword, and 5 always watched. So at Candlemas many more great lords came thither, for to have won the sword, but there might none prevail. And right, as Arthur did at Christmas, he did at Candlemas, and pulled out the sword easily, whereof the barons were sore aggrieved, and put it off in delay till the high feast of Easter. And as Arthur sped before, so did he at Easter. Yet there were some of the great lords had indignation that Arthur should be king, and put it off in a delay till the feast of Pentecost. Then the Archbishop of Canterbury, by Merlin's providence, let purvey then of the best knights that they might get, and such knights as Uther Pendragon loved best and most trusted in his days. And such knights were put about Arthur as Sir Bodwin of Britain, Sir Kay, Sir Ulfius, Sir Brastias. All these, with many other, were always about Arthur, day and night, till the feast of Pentecost. That brings us to the end of chapter 6. And yes, so, understandably, the Lords of the Realm are not quite pleased at the idea of a brat of unknown provenance being foisted upon them as king because he picked up a sword. That's crazy talk, right? There's no way that they should be totally fine with that. There's nothing that goes amiss. What next? It's gonna be strange women in ponds that are deciding governance? That's crazy talk. Alright, and we'll continue now with chapter 7. How King Arthur was crowned, and how he made officers. And at the feast of Pentecost, all manner of men essayed to pull at the sword that would essay, but none might prevail but Arthur, and pulled it out afore all the lords and commons that were. Wherefore all the commons cried at once, We will have Arthur unto our king. We will put him no more in delay, for we all see that it is God's will that he shall be our king. And who that holdeth against it, we will slay him. I can make the reference. I'm the strimmer. And therewithal they kneeled at once, both rich and poor, and cried Arthur mercy, because they had delayed him so long. And Arthur forgave them, and took the sword between both his hands, and offered it upon the altar where the archbishop was. And so was he made knight of the best man that was there. And so anon was the coronation made. There was he sworn unto his lords and the commons for to be a true king, to stand with true justice from thenceforth the days of his life. Also then he made all lords that held of the crown to come in, and to do service as they ought to do. And many complaints were made unto Sir Arthur of great wrongs that were done since the death of King Uther, of many lands that were bereaved lords, knights, ladies, and gentlemen. Wherefore King Arthur made the lands to be given again unto them that owned them. When this was done, that the king had stablished all the countries about London, then he let make Sir Kay seneschal of England, and Sir Bodwin of Britain was made constable, Sir Ulfius was made chamberlain, Sir Brastias was made warden to wait upon the north from Trent forwards. For it was that time the most party the king's enemies. But within few years after Arthur won all the north, Scotland, and all that were under their obeisance, also Wales, a part of it, held against Arthur, but he overcame them all, as he did the remnant, through the noble prowess of himself and his knights of the Round Table. Well, that was the end of chapter 7, and it took all of 2 paragraphs to unite all of England under, not even all of England, all of Britain, the island itself, Wales, Scotland, and England, under one crown. It was easy, I guess. We're kind of blazing through the establishment of Arthur's kingdom, and we're only about, almost 10% through. This is going very quickly, which just tells me that when the drama really starts, it's going to be very dense, because if we're skimming over all of this lore building and ground laying, it's going to be juicy. So let's see what we've got next. We have now chapter 8. How King Arthur held in Wales at a Pentecost a great feast, and what kings and lords came to his feast. Then the king removed into Wales, and let cry a great feast, that it should be holden at Pentecost, after the incoronation of him at the city of Carlion. Unto the feast came King Lot of Lothian and of Orkney, with 500 knights with him. Also there came to the feast King Uriens of Gore, with 400 knights with him. Also there came to that feast King Nentres of Garlot, with 700 knights with him. Also there came to the feast the King of Scotland, with 600 knights with him, and he was but a young man. Also there came to the feast a king that was called the King with the 100 Knights, but he and his men were passing well beseen at all points. Also there came the King of Carados, with 500 knights, and King Arthur was glad of their coming, for he weened that all the kings and knights had come for great love, and to have done him worship at his feast. Wherefore the king made great joy, and sent the kings and knights great presents. But the kings would none receive, but rebuked the messengers shamefully, and said they had no joy to receive no gifts of a beardless boy that was come of low blood, and sent him word they would none of his gifts, but that they were come to give him gifts with hard swords betwixt the neck and the shoulders, and therefore they came thither. So they told to the messengers plainly, for it was great shame to all them to see such a boy to have a rule of so noble a realm as this land was. With this answer the messengers departed, and told to King Arthur this answer. Wherefore, by the advice of his barons, he took him to a strong tower with 500 good men with him, and all the kings aforesaid in a manner laid a siege tofore him. But King Arthur was well victualled, and within 15 days there came Merlin among them into the city of Carlion. Then all the kings were passing glad of Merlin, and asked him, For what cause is that boy Arthur made your king? Sirs, said Merlin, I shall tell you the cause, for he is king, Uther Pendragon's son, born in wedlock, gotten on Igraine, the duke's wife of Tintagel. Then is he a bastard, they said all. Nay, said Merlin, after the death of the duke, more than 3 hours was Arthur begotten, and 13 days after King Uther wedded Igraine, and therefore I prove him he is no bastard. And who saith nay, he shall be king and overcame all his enemies. And, or he die, he shall be long king of England, and have under his obeisance Wales, Ireland, and Scotland, and more realms than I will now rehearse. Some of the kings had marvel of Merlin's words, and deemed well that it should be as he said, and some of them laughed him to scorn as King Lot, and more others called him a witch. But then were they accorded with Merlin, that King Arthur should come out and speak with the kings, and to come safe and to go safe. Such assurance there was made. So Merlin went unto King Arthur, and told him how he had done, and bade him fear not, but come out boldly, and speak with them, and spare them not, but answer them as their king and chieftain. For ye shall overcome them all, whether they will or nill. It's the end of chapter 8 already. Oh, Lordy. Let's just keep going, see what happens of this meeting. Chapter 9, of the first war that King Arthur had, and how he won the field. These titles of chapters are kind of spoilers, aren't they? Then King Arthur came out of his tower, and had under his gown a jesseraunt of double mail. And there went with him the Archbishop of Canterbury, and Sir Bodwin of Britain, and Sir Kay, and Sir Brastias. These were the men of most worship that were with him. And when they were met, there was no meekness, but stout words on both sides. But always King Arthur answered them, and said he would make them to bow, and he lived. Wherefore they departed with wrath, and King Arthur bade keep them well, and they bade the king keep him well. So the king returned him to the tower again, and armed him and all his knights. What will ye do? Said Merlin to the kings. Ye were better for to stint, for ye shall not here prevail, though ye were 10 times so many. Be we well advised to be afeard of a dream reader, said King Lot. With that Merlin vanished away, and came to King Arthur, and bade him set on them fiercely. And in the meanwhile there were 300 good men, of the best, that were with the kings, that went straight unto King Arthur, and that comforted him greatly. Sir, said Merlin to Arthur, fight not with the sword that ye had by miracle, till that ye see ye go unto the worse. Then draw it out, and do your best. So forthwithal King Arthur set upon them in their lodging, and Sir Baudwin, Sir Kay, and Sir Brastias slew on the right hand and on the left, that it was marvel. And always King Arthur on horseback laid on with a sword, and did marvellous deeds of arms, that many of the kings had great joy of his deeds and hardiness. And also, like, this was also a lot of fabrication of myth and old legends, and making it more legitimate, I should say. Because like the earliest records of Arthur are well before Christianity had come to Britain and all that. It was more a Welsh thing. And so this is sort of reframing it in such a way to set a sort of romantic view of it and set a historic legend for things to go forward. Which is a very medieval thing to do, and a very British thing to do, shall we say. Then King Lot brake out on the backside, and the king with the 100 knights, and King Carados, and set on Arthur fiercely behind him. With that, Sir Arthur turned with his knights, and smote behind and before, and ever Sir Arthur was in the foremost press, till his horse was slain underneath him, and therewith King Lot smote down King Arthur. With that, his 4 knights received him, and set him on horseback. Then he drew his sword Excalibur, but it was so bright in his enemy's eyes that it gave light like 30 torches. And therewith he put them aback, and slew much people. Then the commons of Carleon arose with clubs and staves, and slew many knights. But all the kings held them together with their knights that were left alive, and so fled and departed. And Merlin came unto Arthur, and counselled him to follow them no further. Aha, so we've got the name drop of the sword already. Well, I won't say it already. We've seen the sword. It's been taunted, tested here and there, pulled and put back in the stone, in and out, just plug it in, plug it out. It's like a USB. Not sure which was the right way. But now we have the name, and lo does it shine. That's the end of chapter 9, so let's continue on now to chapter 10. We're making very, very good progress tonight. But this is still only about 10% through. These chapters are exceeding short. Chapter 10. How Merlin counselled King Arthur to send for King Ban and King Bors, and of their counsel taken for the war. So, after the feasts and journey, King Arthur drew him unto London, and so by the counsel of Merlin, the king let call his barons to council. For Merlin had told the king that the 6 kings that made war upon him would in all haste be a roke on him and on his lands. Wherefore, the king asked counsel at them all. They could no counsel give, but said they were big enough. Ye say well, said Arthur, I thank you for your good courage. But will ye all that loveth me speak with Merlin? Ye know well that he hath done much for me, and he knoweth many things. And when he is afore you, I would that ye prayed him heartily of his best advice. Hi, Zoe, yes. All the barons said they would pray him and desire him. So Merlin was sent for, and fair desired of all the barons to give them best counsel. I shall say you, said Merlin, I warn you all. Your enemies are passing strong for you, and they are good men of arms, as be alive. And by this time they have gotten to them 4 kings more, and a mighty duke. And unless that our king might have more chivalry with him than he may make within the bounds of his own realm, and fight with them in battle, he shall be overcome and slain. What were best to do in this cause? Said all the barons. I shall tell you, said Merlin, mine advice. There are 2 brethren beyond the sea, and they be kings both, and marvellous good men of their hands. And that one hight King Ban of Benwick, and that other hight King Bors of Gaul. That is France. And on these 2 kings warreth a mighty man of men, the King Claudas, and striveth with them for a castle, and great wars betwixt them. But this Claudas is so mighty of goods, whereof he getteth good knights, that he putteth these 2 kings most part to the worst. Wherefore this is my counsel, that our king and sovereign Lord send unto the kings Ban and Bors by 2 trusty knights with letters well devised, that and they will come and see King Arthur in his court, and so help him in his wars, that he will be sworn unto them to help them in their wars against King Claudas. Now, what say ye unto this counsel? Said Merlin. This is well counselled, said the king and all the barons. Right so in all haste there were ordained to go 2 knights on the message unto the 2 kings. So were there made letters in the pleasant wise according unto King Arthur's desire. Ulfius and Brastias were made the messengers, and so rode forth well horsed and well armed, and as the guise was that time, and so passed the sea and rode toward the city of Benwick. And there besides were 8 knights that espied them, and at a straight passage they met with Ulfius and Brastias, and would have taken them prisoners. So they prayed them that they might pass, for they were messengers unto King Ban and Bors sent from King Arthur. Therefore, said the 8 knights, ye shall die or be prisoners, for we be knights of King Claudas. And therewith 2 of them dressed their spears, and Ulfius and Brastias dressed their spears, and ran together with great raundon. And Claudas's knights brake their spears, and theirs to held and bare the 2 knights out of their saddles to the earth, and so left them lying, and rode their ways. And the other 6 knights rode afore to a passage to meet with them again, and so Ulfius and Brastias smote other 2 down, and so passed on their ways. And at the 4th passage there met 2 for 2, and both were laid unto the earth. So there was none of the 8 knights. Does it skip to? Oh, okay, yeah. And so there was none of the 8 knights. He was sore hurt or bruised, and when they came to Benwick, it fortuned there were both kings, Ban and Bors. And when it was told the kings that there were come messengers, they were sent unto them 2 knights of worship. The one hight Leonces, lord of the country of Payarn, and Sir Feriance, a worshipful knight. Anon they asked from whence they came, and they said, from King Arthur, king of England. So they took them in their arms, and made great joy of each other. But anon, as the 2 kings wist they were messengers of Arthur's, there was made no tarrying, but forthwith they spake with the knights, and welcomed them in the faithfullest wise, and said they were most welcome unto them before all the kings living. And therewith they kissed the letters, and delivered them. And when Ban and Bors understood the letters, then they were more welcome than they were before. And after the haste of the letters, they gave them this answer, that they would fulfill the desire of King Arthur's writing, and Ulfius and Brastias tarry there as long as they would. They should have such cheer as might be made them in those marches. Then Ulfius and Brastias told the kings of the adventure at their passages of the 8 nights. "Ha! Ha!" said Ban and Bors. "They were my good friends. I had wist of them. They should not have escaped so." So Ulfius and Brastias had good cheer and great gifts, as much as they might bear away, and had their answer by mouth and by writing, that those 2 kings would come unto Arthur in all the haste that they might. So the 2 knights rode on afore, and passed the sea, and came to their lord, and told him how they had sped, whereof King Arthur was passing glad. "At what time suppose ye the 2 kings will be here?" "Sir," said they, "afore All Hallowmass." Then the king let purvey for a great feast, and let a cry a great jousts. And by All Hallowmass the 2 kings were come over the sea with 300 knights well arrayed both for the peace and for the war. And King Arthur met with them 10 mile out of London, and there was great joy as could be thought or made. And on All Hallowmass at the great feast sat in the hall the 3 kings, and Sir Kay Seneschal served in the hall, and Sir Lucas the butler that was Duke Corneus' son, and Sir Griflet that was the son of Cardle. These 3 knights had the rule of all the service that served the kings. And anon, as they had washen and risen, all knights that would joust made them ready. But then they were ready on horseback. There were 700 knights, and Arthur, Ban and Bors, with the Archbishop of Canterbury, and Sir Ector, Kay's father, they were in a place covered with cloth of gold like an all, with ladies and gentlewomen, for to behold who did best, and thereon to give judgment. It's the end of chapter 10. Let's get probably one more of these in before we take a quick break. So we've got chapter 11 of a great tourney made by King Arthur and the 2 kings, Ban and Bors, and how they went over the sea. And King Arthur and the 2 kings let depart the 700 knights in 2 parties, and they were 300 knights of the realm of Benwick and of Gaul turned on the other side. Then they dressed their shields and began to couch their spears, many good knights. So Griflet was the first that met with a knight, one Ladanus, and they met so eagerly that all men had wonder, and they so fought that their shields fell to pieces, and horse and man fell to the earth, and both the French knight and the English knight lay so long that all men weened they had been dead. When Lucas the butler saw Griflet so lie, he horsed him again anon, and they did marvelous deeds of arms with many bachelors. Also, Sir Kay came out of an ambushment with 5 knights with him, and they 6 smote other 6 down. But Sir Kay did that day marvelous deeds of arms, and there was none did so well as he that day. Then there came Ladanus and Gracian, 2 knights of France, and did passing well, that all men praised them. Then came Sir Placidas, a good knight, and met with Sir Kay, and smote him down horse and man, wherefore Sir Griflet was wroth, and met with Sir Placidas so hard that horse and men fell to the earth. But when the 5 knights wist that Sir Kay had a fall, they were wroth out of wit, and therewith each of them 5 bare down a knight. When King Arthur and the 2 kings saw them begin to wax wroth on both parties, they leapt on small hackneys, and let cry that all men should depart unto their lodging. And so they went home and unarmed them, and so to evensong and supper. And after, the 3 kings went into a garden, and gave the prize unto Sir Kay, and to Lucas the butler, and unto Sir Griflet. And then they went into council, and with them Gwenbaus, the brother unto Sir Ban and Bors, a wise clerk, and thither went Ulfius and Brastias and Merlin. And after they had been in council, they went unto bed, and on the morn they heard mass, and to dinner, and so to their council, and made many arguments what were best to do. At the last, they were concluded that Merlin should go with a token of King Ban, and that was a ring, unto his men, and King Bors and Gracian and Placidas should go again and keep their castles and their countries. As for dread of King Claudius, King Ban of Benwick, and King Bors of Gaul had ordained them, and so passed the sea and came to Benwick. And when the people saw King Ban's ring, and Gracian and Placidas, they were glad, and asked how the kings fared, and made great joy of their welfare and courting. And according unto the sovereign lord's desire, the men of war made them ready in all haste possible, so that they were 15,000 on horse and foot. And they had great plenty of victual with them, by Merlin's provision. But Gracian and Placidas were left to furnish and garnish the castles, for dread of King Claudius. Right so Merlin passed the sea, well victualled both by water and by land. And when he came to the sea, he sent home the footmen again, and took no more with him but 10,000 men on horseback, the most part men of arms, and so shipped and passed the sea into England, and landed at Dover. And through the wit of Merlin he had the host northward, the privriest way that could be thought, unto the forest of Bedegraine. And there in a valley he lodged them secretly. Then rode Merlin unto Arthur and the two kings, and told them how he had sped, whereof they had great marvel, that man on earth might speed so soon and go and come. So Merlin told them 10,000 were in the forest of Bedegraine, well armed at all points. Yes, Zoe, hello. Then was there no more to say, but to horseback went all the host as Arthur had afore purveyed. So with 20,000 he passed by day and night. But there was made such an ordinance afore by Merlin, that there should no man of war ride nor go in no country on this side Trent water. But if he had a token from King Arthur, wherethrough the king's enemies durst not ride, as they did tofore to espy. Yeah, she wanted to make herself known, that's for sure. Alright, this next one is very short, so let's get one more chapter in, and we'll see if that gets us a little bit closer to 9. These are so short, we can kind of play it by the minute here or there, and see how close we can time it. Alright, so chapter 12, how 11 kings gathered a great host against King Arthur. And so, within a little space, the 3 kings came unto the castle of Bedegraine, and found there a passing fair fellowship, and well beseen, whereof they had great joy, and victual they wanted none. This was the cause of the northern host, that they were reared for the despite and rebuke the 6 kings had at Carleon. And those 6 kings by their means gat unto them 5 other kings, and thus they began to gather their people. And now they swear that for weal nor woe they should not leave other, till they had destroyed Arthur. And then they made an oath. The first that began the oath was the Duke of Cambenet, that he would bring with him 5,000 men of arms, the which were ready on horseback. Then sware King Brandegoris of the Stangor, that he would bring 5,000 men of arms on horseback. Then sware King Clarence of Northumberland, he would bring 3,000 men of arms. Then sware the King of the 100 Knights, that was a passing good man and a young, that he would bring 4,000 men of arms on horseback. Then there sware King Lot, a passing good knight, and Sir Gawaine's father, that he would bring 5,000 men of arms on horseback. Also there swore King Uriens, that was Sir Uwain's father, of the land of Gore, and he would bring 6,000 men of arms on horseback. Also there swore King Idris of Cornwall, that he would bring 5,000 men of arms on horseback. There swore King Crodalmus to bring 5,000 men on horseback. Also there sware King Aguisance of Ireland to bring 5,000 men of arms on horseback. Also there swore King Nentris to bring 5,000 men of arms on horseback. Also there swore King Carados to bring 5,000 men of arms on horseback. So their whole host was of clean men of arms on horseback, 50,000, and afoot 10,000 of good men's bodies. Then were they soon ready, and mounted upon horse, and sent forth their 4 riders. For these 11 kings in their ways laid a siege unto the castle of Bedegraine. And so they departed and drew toward Arthur, and left few to abide at the siege. For the castle of Bedegraine was holden of King Arthur, and the men that were therein were Arthur's. Alright, that is the end of chapter 12. So let's go ahead and take a quick break. I do need to check up on Simba. Little man is actually going in to get fixed tomorrow, so I need to put his food up. So we'll see. He's going to be full of piss and vinegar, I'm sure. So I'll be back in just a little bit. Gotta tidy that up and make sure that he is well sorted, and we'll be back in just a little while. Thanks, guys. All right, we are back. Let's get this flipped back over. Got the food picked up, put away so that poor little Mr. Simba will be on his fast until the morning. He's going into the vet tomorrow to get snippy. And it is crazy how time flies. He is already 6 months. Would you believe it? What? All right. So let's continue now. We've gotten to about the eve of war with King Arthur and the 11 kings. And yeah, it's crazy how fast he's grown and how fast time flies. When I brought him home, he would fit in the palm of your hand, and now, oh, good lord, he's almost as big as Zoe. He just hasn't filled out yet and filled out his frame. So he's a big lad, very quickly grown. I need to update the I think I've got him here. I need to update the sizes here, and I guess it's about time. He's got a slightly different coloration. We'll have to adjust that as well, I'm sure. Alright, let's go ahead and get some more reading in tonight, and we will see what will become of King Arthur and the 11 Kings. And so, Chapter 13, of A Dream of the King with the 100 Knights. I'm sure. I'll be sure to get a current measurement of him when we go into the vet tomorrow. And we'll see where it plays out as far as how large this lad's going to get. So, by Merlin's advice, there were set 4 riders to skim the country, and that they met with the 4 riders of the north, and made them to tell which way the host came. And then they told it to Arthur. And by King Ban and Bors' counsel, they let burn and destroy all the country afore them. There they should ride. The king, with the 100 knights, met a wonder dream 2 nights afore the battle, that there blew a great wind, and blew down their castles and their towns, and after that came a water and bare it all away. All that heard of the Sveven said it was a token of great battle. Then, by counsel of Merlin, when they wist which way the 11 kings would ride and lodge that night, at midnight they set upon them, as they were in their pavilions. But the scout watch by their host cried, Lords at arms! For here be your enemies at your hand. And now chapter 14. How the 11 kings with their host fought against Arthur and his host, and many great feats of the war. Then King Arthur and King Ban and King Bors, with their good and trusty knights, set on them so fiercely that they made them overthrow their pavilions on their heads. But the 11 kings, by manly prowess of arms, took a fair champaign. But there was slain that morrow tide 10,000 good men's bodies. And so they had afore them a strong passage. Yet were they 50,000 of hardy men. Then it drew toward day. Now shall ye do by mine advice, said Merlin unto the 3 kings. I would that King Ban and King Bors, with their fellowship of 10,000 men, were put in a wood here beside, in an ambushment, and keep them privy, and that they be laid or the light of the day come, and that they stir not till ye and your knights have fought with them long, and when it is daylight, dress your battle even afore them and the passage, that they may see all your host, and then they will be the more hardy, when they see you but about 20,000 men, and cause them to be the gladder to suffer you, and your host to come over the passage. All the 3 kings and the whole barons said that Merlin said passingly well, and it was done anon as Merlin had devised. So on the morn, when either host saw other, the host of the north was well comforted, Then to Ulfius and Brastias were delivered 3,000 men of arms, and they set on them fiercely in the passage, and slew on the right hand and on the left hand, that it was wonder to tell. When that the 11 kings saw that there was so few a fellowship did such deeds of arms, they were ashamed, and set on them again fiercely. And there was Sir Ulfius's horse slain under him, but he did marvellously well on foot. But the Duke Eustace of Cambrai and the King Clarence of Northumberland were always grievous on Ulfius. Then Brastias saw his fellow fared so withal, he smote the Duke with a spear. That horse and men fell down. That saw Sir King Clarence, and returned unto Brastias, and either smote other, so that the horse and the man went to the earth, and so they lay long astonied. And their horses' knees braced to the hard bone. Then came Sir Kay the Seneschal with 6 fellows with him, and did passing well. With that came the 11 kings, and there was Griflet put to the earth, horse and man, and Lucas the butler, horse and man, by King Brandigory, and King Idris, and King Aguisance. Then waxed the medley passing hard on both parties. When Sir Kay saw Griflet on foot, he rode on King Nentres and smote him down, and led his horse unto Sir Griflet, and horsed him again. Also Sir Kay with the same spear smote down King Lot, and hurt him passing sore. That saw the king with the 100 knights, and ran unto Sir Kay, and smote him down, and took his horse, and gave him King Lot, whereof he said, Gramercy. When Sir Griflet saw Sir Kay and Lucas the butler on foot, he took a sharp spear, great and square, and rode to Penel, a good man of arms, and smote horse and man down. And then he took his horse, and gave him unto Sir Kay. Then King Lot saw King Nentres on foot. He ran unto Melot de la Roche, and smote him down, horse and man, and gave King Nentres the horse, and horsed him again. Also the king of the 100 knights saw King Idris on foot. Then he ran under Guinart de Blois, and smote him down, horse and man, and gave King Idris the horse, and horsed him again. And King Lot smote down Clarence de la Force savage, and gave the horse unto Duke Eustace. And so, when they had horsed the kings again, they drew them, all 11 kings together, and said they would be revenged of the damage that they had taken that day. The meanwhile came in Sir Ector with an eager countenance, and found Ulfius and Brastias on foot, in great peril of death, that were foul defoiled under horse feet. Then Arthur, as a lion, ran unto King Crandalmont of North Wales, and smote him through the left side, that the horse and the king fell down. And then he took the horse by the rein, and led him unto Ulfius, and said, Have this horse, mine old friend, for great need hast thou of horse. Gramercy, said Ulfius. Then Sir Arthur did so marvellously in arms, that all men had wonder. When the king with the 100 knights saw King Crandalmont on foot, he ran unto Sir Ector, that was well horsed, Sir Kay's father, and smote horse and man down, and gave the horse unto the king, and horsed him again. And when King Arthur saw the king ride on Sir Ector's horse, he was wroth, and with his sword he smote the king on the helm, that a quarter of the helm and shield fell down, and so the sword carved down unto the horse's neck. And so the king and the horse fell down to the ground. Then Sir Kay came unto Sir Morganor, seneschal, with the king of the 100 knights, and smote him down, horse and man, and led the horse unto his father, Sir Ector. Then Sir Ector ran unto a knight, hight Lardans, and smote horse and man down, and led the horse unto Sir Brastias, the great need had of an horse, and was greatly defoiled. when Brastias beheld Lucas the butler, that lay like a dead man under the horse's feet, and ever Sir Griflet did marvellously for to rescue him, and there were always 14 knights on Sir Lucas. Then Brastias smote one of them on the helm, that it went to the teeth. And he rode to another and smote him, that the arm flew into the field. Then he went to the third, and smote him on the shoulder, that shoulder and arm flew in the field. And when Griflet saw rescues, he smote a knight on the temples, that head and helm went to the earth. And Griflet took the horse of that knight, and led him unto Sir Lucas, and bade him mount upon the horse and revenge his hurts. For Brastias had slain a knight to fore and horse Griflet. Alright, that's the end of chapter 14, and it is getting to be a wee bit hard to keep track of all the who is getting knocked off the horse, who's getting a horse stolen, who is being killed outright, who's being maimed, who's being given a new horse, back and forth and back and forth. It reads like Old Testament, just things happening to people whose names just kind of blend in and around. All right. Next up, chapter 15. From their horse or with their horse. Could be both. Could be either. Then Lucas saw King Aguisance, that late had slain Maurice de la Roche. And Lucas ran to him with a short spear that was great, that he gave him such a fall that the horse fell down to the earth. See, there we go. Also Lucas found there on foot Bloya de la Flandre and Sir Gwinas, 2 hardy knights. And in that woodness that Lucas was in, he slew 2 bachelors and horsed them again. Then waxed the battle passing hard on both parties. We're buffering, hang on. YouTube, while you do this. Hang on. Okay, it's really, yeah, this one's pretty wild, actually. Okay. Nope. It came for a minute, and then it was gone again. Hang on. Let us see. Oh, are we maybe? Oh, nope, nope, still buffering. Nope. Are we? I think we might be back. Maybe. I still show pretty poor health here. A lot of dropped frames that are still going up. Yeah, but still buffering back and forth. Hang on. Bear with me here. Yeah, I'm not able to keep current on my monitor stream here either. Alright, hang on. Oh, alright, I think we are coming back now. At least OBS is reporting we got green signal. We'll see if YouTube will agree with us. Alright, I'm live. And yep, I think we are back. Ay, ay, ay. Alright, well, let's just take this chapter from the top, because I do not remember where we left off for the life of me. I wonder what that was. Maybe I'll reboot my router all night. Oh, well. Alright, so, let's resume now from chapter 15. Yet of the same battle. Yeah, something about horses and smiting, and some going to the earth or not. Then Lucas saw King Agwisance, that late had slain Morte de la Roche, and Lucas ran to him with a short spear that was great, and gave him such a fall that the horse fell down to the earth. Also, Lucas found there on foot Bloya de la Flandre and Sir Guinus, 2 hardy knights, and in that woodness that Lucas was in, he slew 2 bachelors and horsed them again. Then waxed the battle passing hard on both parties. But Arthur was glad that his knights were horsed again, and then they fought together, that the noise and sound rang by the water and the wood. Wherefore King Ban and King Bors made them ready, and dressed their shields and harness. And they were so courageous. YouTube, come on, you are killing me. Chat through nice and quickly and easily, but speed test, good. Yep, very good, very fast, very reliable. Let me just get a rolling pin going and just see if things will play nicely. Yeah, not dropping any packets. So it is, I believe, on YouTube side tonight. It is just going to be one of those nights, I think. Let's hang tight for a little bit, and we will see if it comes back. I am actually dropping some pings here and there. It may be about time to start rebooting my router and such, but we'll see if it comes back. I'd like to try and get through some more tonight. We'll see, we'll see. YouTube, how you do this? Always, always. We are still dropping frames all over the place. Yeah, this is not looking great, lads. Just watching the drop frames go up and up and up, and it tells me it is still having problems. Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop. I don't want to reboot my stuff in the middle of this because it will probably not reconnect properly. We'll give it another minute or two and see if it plays nice, and then we'll just go from there. Still be having issues here. Yeah, and I can't stay live on the monitor either. Tell you what, I'll close my monitor stream and just see if it's bandwidth. Cut down how much we're using. Well, okay, as soon as I close that, stop dropping frames. And now we're green. Are we okay? Alright, I think we might be okay. Alright. Well, let's try and power through it, alright? So... put this back. Let's see if we are Kaputski or okay if I pull this back. Maybe. Yeah, I think we might be okay. Alright, we're gonna try it. It's, you know what, we've been overdue for some scuff. We've had good luck with OBS playing nice, we've had good luck with new BGMs going alright, and just in general it's been okay. So, we're past due. So, I think we're okay. We're okay. So, let's try and muscle through it, and we will see if we can get a little bit more done tonight. Yeah, we're still alive, right? Yeah, we're still alive. Alright, let's just power through. Where were we? I don't want to start at the top of the chapter again, because that is going to get old really quick. And they were just... okay. Wherefore King Ban and King Bors made them ready, and dressed their shields and harness, and they were so courageous that many knights shook and bevered for eagerness. All this while Lucas and Gwinus, and Bryant and Bellius of Flanders, held strong medley against 6 kings. That was King Lot, King Nentrus, King Brandagoras, King Idris, and King Uriens, and King Aguisance. So, with the help of Sir Kay and of Sir Griflet, they held these 6 kings hard, that unneth they had any power to defend them. But when Sir Arthur saw the battle would not be ended by no manner, he fared wood as a lion, and steered his horse here and there, on the right hand and on the left hand, that he stinted not, till he had slain 20 knights. Also, he wounded King Lot sore on the shoulder, and made him to leave that ground. For Sir Kay and Griflet did with King Arthur their great deeds of arms. Then Ulfius and Brastias and Sir Ector encountered... Huh. That's interesting. YouTube is just out to get us tonight, I think. Thanks, YouTube. Good to know you're in my corner. Then Ulpius and Brastias and Sir Ector encountered against the Duke Eustace, and King Crandlement, and King Clariance of Northumberland, and King Carados, and against the King with the 100 knights. So these knights encountered with these kings, that they made them to avoid the ground. Then King Lot made great dole for his damages and his fellows, and said unto the 10 knights, But if ye will do as I devise, we shall be slain and destroyed. Let me have the king with the 100 knights, and King Aguisance, and King Idris, and the Duke of Cambernet. And we 5 kings will have 15,000 men of arms with us, and we will go apart, while ye 6 kings hold medley with 12,000, and we see that ye have foughten with them long. Then will we come on fiercely, and else shall we never match them, said King Lot. But by this mean. So they departed, as they were devised, and 6 kings made their party strong against Arthur, and made great war long. In the meanwhile, brake the ambushment of King Ban and King Bors, and Leonsis and Phariance had the vanguard, and they 2 knights met with King Idris and his fellowship. And there began a great medley of breaking spears and smiting of swords, with slaying of men and horses, and King Idris was near a discomfiture. That saw Aguisance the king, and put Leonces and Phariance in point of death. The Duke of Cambinet came on withal with a great fellowship. So these 2 knights were in great danger of their lives, that they were fain to return. But always they rescued themselves and their fellowship marvelously. When King Bors saw those knights put aback, it grieved him sore. Then he came on so fast that his fellowship seemed as black as Inde. When King Lot had espied King Bors, he knew him well, and then he said, "Oh, jeez, defend us from death and horrible maims. For I see well we be in great peril of death. For I see yonder a king, one of the most worshipfullest men, and one of the best knights in the world, is inclined unto his fellowship." "What is he?" said the king with the 100 knights. "It is," said King Lot, "King Bors of Gaul. I marvel how they came into this country without winning of us all. It was by Merlin's advice," said the knight. "As for him," said King Carados, "I will encounter with King Bors, and ye will rescue me when Meister is." "Go on," said they all. "We will do all that we may." Then King Carados and his host rode on a soft pace, till they came as nigh King Bors as bowdraft. Then either battled that let their horse run as fast as they might. And Bloberus, that was godson unto King Bors, he bare his chief standard, that was a passing good knight. "Now shall we see," said King Bors, "how these northern Britons can bear the arms." And King Bors encountered with a knight, and smote him throughout with a spear, that he fell dead unto the earth. And after drew his sword, and did marvelous deeds of arms, that all parties had great wonder thereof. And his knights failed not, but did their part. And King Carados was smitten to the earth. With that came the king with the 100 knights, and rescued King Carados mightily by force of arms. For he was a passing good knight of a king, but a young man. And that brings us to the end of chapter 15, and the battle rages on still. Let's see if we can carry on and get through a little bit more. I'd like to see if we can get to the end of the battle tonight. Alright. And so we continue now with chapter 16. Yet more of the same battle. Okay, that's a little on the nose. Come on. By then came into the field King Ban, as fierce as a lion, with bands of green and thereupon gold. "Ha ha!" said King Lot. "We must be discomfited, for yonder I see the most valiant knight of the world, and the man of the most renown. For such 2 brethren as is King Ban and King Bors are not living. Wherefore we must needs void or die. And but if we avoid manly and wisely, there is but death. When King Ban came into the battle, he came in so fiercely that the strokes redounded again from the wood and the water. Wherefore King Lot wept for pity and dole that he saw so many good knights take their end. But through the great force of King Ban, they made both the northern battles that were departed hurtled together for great dread. And 3 kings and their knights slew on ever, that it was a pity to behold that multitude of the people that fled. But King Lot, and King of the 100 knights, and King Morganor gathered the people together passing knightly, and did great prowess of arms, and held the battle all that day like hard. When the King of the 100 knights beheld the great damage that King Ban did, he thrust unto him with his horse, and smote him on high upon the helm, a great stroke, and astonied him sore. Then King Ban was wroth with him, and followed on him fiercely. The other saw that, and cast up his shield, and spurred his horse forward. But the stroke of King Ban fell down, and carved a cantle off the shield, and the sword slid down by the hauberk behind his back, and cut through the trapping of steel, and the horse even in 2 pieces, that the sword felt the earth. Then the King of the 100 Knights voided the horse lightly, and with his sword he broached the horse of King Ban through and through. And with that King Ban voided lightly from the dead horse. And then King Ban smote at the other so eagerly, and smote him on the helm, that he fell to the earth. Also in that ire he felled King Morganor, and there was great slaughter of good knights and much people. By then came into the press King Arthur, and found King Ban standing among dead men and dead horses, fighting on foot as a wood-lion, that there came none nigh him, as far as he might reach with his sword, but he caught a grievous buffet, whereof King Arthur had great pity. And Arthur was so bloody that by his shield there might no man know him, for all was blood and brains on his sword. And as Arthur looked by him, he saw a knight that was passingly well horsed. And therewith Sir Arthur ran to him, and smote him on the helm, that his sword went unto his teeth, and the knight sank down to the earth dead. And anon Arthur took the horse by the rein, and led him unto King Ban, and said, Fair brother, have this horse, for he have great mister thereof, and me repenteth sore of your great damage. It shall soon be revenged, said King Ban, for I trust in God, mine ure is not such, but some of them may sore repent this. I will well, said Arthur, for I see your deeds full actual. Nevertheless, I might not come at you at that time. But when King Ban was mounted on horseback, then there began new battle, the which was sore and hard, and passing great slaughter, and so through great force King Arthur, King Ban, and King Bors made their knights a little to withdraw them. But alway the 11 kings with their cavalry never turned back, and so withdrew them to a little wood, and so over a little river, and there they rested them, for on the night they might have no rest on the field. And then the 11 kings and knights put them on a heap all together, as men adread and out of all comfort. But there was no man might pass them, and they held them so hard together, both behind and before, that King Arthur had marvel of their deeds of arms, and was passing wroth. Ah, Sir Arthur, said King Ban and King Bors, blame them not, for they do as good men ought to do. For by my faith, said King Ban, they are the best fighting men, and knights of most prowess that ever I saw or heard speak of. And those 11 kings are men of great worship, and if they were longing unto you, there were no king under the heaven had such 11 knights, and of such worship. I may not love them, said Arthur, they would destroy me. That wot we well, said King Ban and King Bors, for they are your mortal enemies, and that hath been proved beforehand. And this day they have done their part, and that is great pity of their willfulness. Then all the 11 kings drew them together. And then said King Lot, Lords, ye must other ways than ye do, or else the great loss is behind. Ye may see what people we have lost, and what good men we lose, because we wait always on these footmen, and ever in saving of one of the footmen we lose 10 horsemen for him. And therefore this is mine advice. Let us put our footmen from us, for it is near night. For the noble Arthur will not tarry on the footmen, for they may save themselves. The wood is near hand, and when we horsemen be together, look each of you kings, let make each ordinance, that none break upon pain of death. And who that seeth any man, dress him to flee, lightly that he be slain. For it is better we slay a coward, then through a coward all we to be slain. How say ye? Said King Lot. Answer me, all ye kings. It is well said, quoth King Nentrus. So said the king of the 100 knights. The same said the king of Carados and King Uriens. So did King Idris and King Brandagoras, and so did King Cradlement and the Duke of Cambinet. The same said King Clariance and King Aguisance, and swear they would never fail other, neither for life nor for death. And whoso that fled, but did as they did, should be slain. Then they amended their harness, and righted their shields, and took new spears, and set them on their thighs, and stood still, as it had been a plump of wood. Alright, next we come up to chapter 17. Yet more of the same battle, and how it was ended by Merlin. Okay, so, we can see the light at the end of this tunnel. Yeah, the prose is very ponderous. When Sir Arthur and King Ban and Bors beheld them, and all their knights, they praised them much for their noble cheer of chivalry, for the hardiest fighters that ever they heard or saw. With that, there dressed them a 40 noble knights, and said unto the 3 kings they would break their battle. These were their names: Leonces, Bariates, Ulfius, Brastius, Ector, Kay, Lucas the butler, Griflet, Lafith de Dieu, Mariette de la Roche, Guinness de Blois, Briant de la Forest Savage, Belaus, Morians of the Castle of Maidens, Flanedrius of the Castle of Ladies, Anicians, that was King Bors' godson, a noble knight, Laudinus de la Rus, Amaraus, Caulus, Gracians de Caslain, one Blois de la Casse, and Sir Colgrevance de Gore. Okay, now you're screwing with me with these names. All these knights rode on afore with spears on their thighs, and spurred their horses mightily, as the horses might run. And the 11 kings, with part on their knights, rushed with their horses as fast as they might with their spears. And there they did on both parties marvelous deeds of arms. So came into the thick of the press Arthur, Ban, and Bors, and slew down right on both hands, that their horses went in blood up to the fetlocks. But even the 11 kings and their host was ever in the visage of Arthur, wherefore Ban and Bors had great marvel, considering the great slaughter that there was. But at the last they were driven aback over a little river. With that came Merlin on a great black horse, and said unto Arthur, Thou hast never done, hast thou not done enough? Of 70,000 this day hast thou left alive but 15,000. And it is time to say, Ho! For God is wroth with thee, that thou wilt never have done. For yonder 11 kings at this time will not be overthrown, but an thou tarry on them any longer, thy fortune will turn, and they shall increase. And therefore withdraw you unto your lodging, and rest you as soon as ye may, and reward your good knights with gold and silver, for they have well deserved it. There may no riches be too dear for them, for of so few men as ye have, there were never men did more of prowess than they have done today, for ye have matched this day with the best fighters of the world. That is truth, said King Ban and Bors. Also, said Merlin, withdraw you where ye list, for this 3 year I dare undertake they shall not dare you, and by then ye shall hear new tidings. And then Merlin said unto Arthur, These 11 kings have more on hand than they are aware of, for the Saracens are landed in their countries, more than 40,000, that burn and slay and have laid siege at the castle Wandesborough, and make great destruction. Therefore dread you not this 3 year. Also, sir, all the goods that be gotten at this battle, let it be searched, And when ye have it in your hands, let it be given freely unto these two kings, Ban and Bors, that they may reward their knights withal, and that shall cause strangers to be of better will to do you service at need. Also, you be able to reward your own knights of your own goods whensomever it liketh you. It is well said, quoth Arthur, and as thou hast devised, so shall it be done. When it was delivered to Ban and Bors, they gave the goods as freely to their knights as freely as it was given to them. Then Merlin took his leave of Arthur and of the two kings, for to go and see his master Bluesky, that dwelt in Northumberland. And so he departed, and came to his master, that was passing glad of his coming. And there he told how Arthur and the two kings had sped at the great battle, and how it was ended, and told the names of every king and knight of worship that was there. And so Blaise wrote the battle word by word, as Merlin told him. Now how it began, and by whom, and in likewise how it was ended, and who had the worse. All the battles that were done in Arthur's days did his master Blaise do right. Also he did to write all the battles that every worthy knight did of Arthur's court. After this, Merlin departed from his master, and came to King Arthur, that was in the castle of Bedegraine, that was one of the castles that stand in the forest of Sherwood. Ew. And Merlin was so disguised that King Arthur knew him not, for he was all befurred in black sheepskins, and a great pair of boots, and a bow and arrows in a russet gown, and brought wild geese in his hand. And it was on the morn after Candlemas Day, but King Arthur knew him not. Sir, said Merlin unto the king, will ye give me a gift? Wherefore said King Arthur, should I give thee a gift, churl? Sir, said Merlin, ye were better to give me a gift that is not in your hand than to lose great riches. For here, in the same place where the great battle was, is great treasure hidden in the earth. Who told thee so, churl? Said Arthur. Merlin told me so, said he. Then Ulfius and Brastias knew him well enough and smiled. Sir, said these two knights, it is Merlin that so speaketh unto you. Then King Arthur was greatly abashed, and had marvel of Merlin. And so had King Ban and King Bors, and so they had great disport at him. So in the meanwhile there came a damosel that was an earl's daughter. His name was Sanam, and her name was Leonors, a passing fair damosel. And so she came thither for to do homage, as other lords did after the great battle, and King Arthur set his love greatly upon her, and so did she upon him. And the king had ado with her, and gat on her a child. His name was Bor. That was after a good night, and of the Table Round. Then there came word that the King Rience of North Wales made great war on King Leodegrance of Cameliard, for the which thing Arthur was wroth, for he loved him well, and hated King Rience, for he was always against him. So by ordinance of the three kings that were sent home unto Benwick, all they would depart for dread of King Claudas, and Phariance, and Antimes, and Gratian, and Leonces of Pearn, and the leaders of those that should keep the king's lands. That brings us to the end of chapter 17. Where are these broken up into? Good Lord, how's this go? So the first book of this is 27 chapters. And we're not going to get through that tonight. There's a little bit more meat to this than I was expecting. The chapters are very short, but man, there are a ton of them. Let's get through one more, and then so let's see what let's get one more. Chapter 28. How King Arthur, King Ban, and King Bors rescued King Leodegrance, and other incidents. And then King Arthur and King Ban and King Bors departed with their fellowship, 20,000, and came within 6 days into the country of Cameliard. And there rescued King Leodegrance, and slew there much people of King Rience, unto the number of 10,000 men, and put him to flight. And then had these 3 kings great cheer of King Leodegrance, that thanked them of their great goodness, that they would revenge him of his enemies. And there had Arthur the first sight of Guinevere, the king's daughter of Cameliard. And ever after he loved her, after they were wedded, as it telleth in the book. So briefly, to make an end, they took their leave to go into their own countries. King Claudas did great destruction on their lands. Then said Arthur, I will go with you. Nay, said the kings, ye shall not at this time, for ye have much to do yet in these lands. Therefore we will depart. And with the great goods that we have gotten in these lands by your gifts, we shall wage good knights, and withstand the King Claudas' malice. For by the grace of God, and we have need, we will send to you for your succor. If ye have need, send for us, and we will not tarry by the faith of our bodies. It shall not, said Merlin, need that these 2 kings come again in the way of war. But I know well King Arthur may not be long from you, for within a year or 2 ye shall have great need, and then shall he revenge you upon your enemies, as ye have done on his. For these 11 kings shall die all in a day, by the great might and prowess of arms of 2 valiant knights, as it telleth after. Their names be Balin le Savage and Balin, his brother, that be marvellous good knights as be any living. Now turn we to the 11 kings that returned unto a city that hight Sorhout, the which city was within King Uriens. And there they refreshed them as well as they might, and made leeches search their wounds, and sorrowed greatly for the death of their people. With that there came a messenger, and told how there was come into their lands people that were lawless, as well as Saracens, 40,000, and have burnt and slain all the people that they may come by, without mercy, and have laid siege on the castle of Wandesborough. Alas, said the 11 kings, here is sorrow upon sorrow, and if we had not warred against Arthur as we had done, he would soon revenge us. As for King Leodegrance, he loveth Arthur better than us. As for King Rience, he hath enough to do with Leodegrance, for he hath laid siege unto him. So they consented together to keep all the marches of Cornwall, of Wales, and of the north. So first they put King Idris in the city of Nantes in Britain, with 4,000 men of arms, to watch both the water and the land. Also they put in the city of Windesung King Nentus of Garland, with 4,000 knights to watch both on water and on land. Also they had of other men of war more than 8,000, to fortify all the fortresses in the marches of Cornwall. Also they put more knights in all the marches of Wales and Scotland, with many good men of arms. And so they kept them together the space of 3 years, and ever allied them with mighty kings and dukes and lords. And to them fell King Rience of North Wales, the which, and Nero that was a mighty man of men. And all this while they furnished them and garnished them of good men of arms and victual, and of all manner of habiliment that pretendeth to the war, to avenge them for the battle of Bettagrain, as it telleth in the book of adventures following. And that brings us to the end of chapter 18. Chapter 19 is only a page. Okay, if I keep doing that, every chapter here is a page long. Alright, let's get one more, because that will end at the start of chapter 20, so we'll be able to pick up next time on chapter 20. I like that. That's the plan. So, chapter 19. How King Arthur rode to Carleon, and of his dream, and how he saw the questing beast. Ooh, questing beast. Then After the departing of King Ban and King Bors, King Arthur rode into Carlion, and thither came to him King Lot's wife of Orkney, in a manner of a message. But she was sent thither to espy the court of King Arthur. She came richly beseen with her 4 sons, Gawain, Gaheris, Agravain, and Gareth, with many other knights and ladies, for she was a passing fair lady. Therefore the king cast great love unto her, and desired to lie by her. So they were agreed, and he begat unto her Mordred, and she was his sister on his mother's side, Igraine. So there she rested her a month, and at the last departed. Then the king dreamed a marvelous dream, whereof he was of sore adread. But all this time King Arthur knew not that King Lot's wife was his sister. Thus was the dream of Arthur. Him thought there was come into this land griffins and serpents, and him thought they burnt and slew all the people in the land. And then him thought he fought with them, and they did him passing great harm, and wounded him full sore. But at the last he slew them. When the king awaked, he was passing heavy of his dream, and so, to put it out of thoughts, he made him ready with many knights to ride a hunting. As soon as he was in the forest, the king saw a great hart afore him. This hart will I chase, said King Arthur, and so he spurred the horse and rode after long. And so, by fine force oft, he was like to have smitten the hart. Whereas the king had chased the hart so long that his horse lost his breath and fell down dead. Then a yeoman fetched the king another horse. So the king saw the hart ambushed, and his horse dead. He set him down by a fountain, and there he fell in great thoughts. And as he sat so, him thought he heard a noise of hounds, to the sum of 30. And with that the king saw coming toward him the strangest beast that ever he saw or heard of. So the beast went to the well and drank, and the noise was in the beast's belly, like unto the questing of 30 couple hounds. But all the while the beast drank, and there was no noise in the beast's belly. And there with the beast departed with a great noise, whereof the king had great marvel. And so he was in a great thought, and therewith he fell asleep. Right so there came a knight afoot unto Arthur, and said, Knight, full of thought and sleepy, tell me if thou sawest a strange beast pass this way. Such one I saw, said King Arthur, that is past 2 mile. What would ye with the beast? Said Arthur. Sir, I have followed that beast long time, and killed mine horse. So would God I had another to follow my quest. Right so came one with the king's horse, and when the knight saw the horse, he prayed the king to give him the horse. For I have followed this quest this 12-month, and either I shall achieve him, or bleed of the best blood of my body. Pellinore, that time king, followed the questing beast, and after his death, Sir Palamedes followed it. Alright, and that brings us to the end of chapter 19. And chapter 20 will be how King Pellinore took Arthur's horse and followed the questing beast, and how Merlin met with Arthur. But that'll be for next time. And before we go, just to be sure we caught that right, Arthur definitely is horning around all fucking over the place. He stopped off at one castle, fathered a whelp. He went to another castle, saw Guinevere, fell in love. Doesn't say that he lay with her this time, but fell in love. Went to another castle, and this time met someone that was, oh, so lovely. Also his sister. Oops. Had a little oopsie with that too. So we're seeing, even in this first book, the seeds of Arthur's downfall. He was proud when Merlin came to him in disguise and was not giving gifts, anything of the like to someone who was seemingly just a random huntsman, random woodsman. He's having his get all over the place. Particularly incestuous get, which we read Oedipus. We know how that goes. It doesn't go well. So, we'll see how things start to... Well, they'll start to come together still, because we're still in the upward swing, but we can already see the seeds of how this is all going to fall apart. There's been a couple name drops that are important. We've seen Mordred. We've seen Gawain, Agravain, Gareth. So there are people that are going to continue to be important. Started to show up. So, we'll leave off here for tonight with the oh so ominous message of King Arthur slept with his sister. And we'll go from there. And we'll resume our reading on Friday. We've got about... Actually, this is a little bit longer than I thought, so that we'll have a good stretch of this. In one night, we got through about 15%, so this will be probably similar length to when we were reading Sherlock. So, we've got some of this to look forward to. I'll suffer through the names, and we'll suffer together through the prose that is difficult to tell who is talking. If anybody has any questions or comment on things as we're going, feel free to chime in chat, because I will be happy to go over something again, because chances are I'm missing things too. Alright guys, we will call it here. Hopefully YouTube will be more friendly to us next time. In the meantime, I'll be sure to reboot all my network gear, and we'll see that we do everything we can on our side. But then we'll call that a night. Thank you very much for joining us, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and we will see you again for our second reading of La Morte d'Arthur on Friday evening. Bye now.